Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. If you're thinking about buying a Honda CRF L or Rally version, you've come to the right place. I just went through that process and I want to talk about the 4 different models available. There's the L in the Rally and the 250, and then there's the L in the Rally and the 300. Basically the same bike, but the 300 has some upgrades. It's a newer unit, so I'm going to talk about the differences between the bikes and which one you should get. It's going to be a little different for everyone, but after watching this video you should be able to decide which one is best for you. Going back in history a little bit, the CRF L was introduced in 2013 and it borrowed the motor from the road version of the 250. They detuned it a little bit and then made their first dual sport bike. And it wasn't until 2017 that they introduced the Rally version. And in that year they did make a couple of changes, and one of them was the airbox and the exhaust system. So the engine's a little bit more powerful, so there's reasons to buy a 2017 or newer, even if you're getting the L model. But of course the earlier ones are probably going to be just a bit cheaper, which is nice. So got a bike event going on here today. Gotta be respectful of these guys. The difference in the Rally are 4 things. Number one, you've got this kind of lower fairing around the legs, which makes it, a little better in the wind. It also has the windshield, which you can see, so that obviously makes it a better road bike. And also the gas tank is larger, so you have more capacity, more range. Again, that's better for road and adventure riding. And then the 4th change is it's got a superior headlamp. It's got an LED headlamp, which is a little more powerful. It's a twin lamp. It's pretty nice. So those are the changes. So basically, if you're deciding between the L and the Rally, it really boils down to if you're going to be doing more road riding, more freeway riding, or more adventure riding and longer rides, then you may find that the Rally is superior for your application. Otherwise, the L is just fine. It's basically the same bike otherwise. Now, in 2021, they introduced the 300. The 300 is the same bike, but they just address a number of issues with the 250, and they really did a good job. The changes are somewhat minor, but they make a huge difference. So the changes are as follows. It's a 300cc engine, but it's actually a 286 is the displacement, whereas the 250 is a 249. So it's only a 37cc upgrade, but you get about 3 more horsepower. You go from 24 to 27, and you get about 3 more foot-pounds of torque, which is actually more significant because the numbers are lower. It's 16 versus 19, and change. So the torque is increased, and that's largely due to the fact that they got the increased displacement by stroking the engine. That always gives you a little more torque, which is nice. A couple of the other changes is they actually lightened up the chassis a little bit. It's only like 4 kilograms or about 9 pounds, but any weight reduction is a good thing, so that's nice. They made the tank on the Rally was already larger than the L series, and they basically kept the L series tank the same, I think, and they actually even made the Rally, which was already a larger gas tank, they made it even larger for the 2021 and newer version, so that's pretty cool. And then another thing they did is they changed the transmission gearing. So instead of like a straight even ratios 1:6, they kind of made it more of a little bit more of a close ratio 1:5, and then there's a gap to 6, and that is actually a good thing because it makes the gearing more usable for the type of riding you're going to do with this bike. So 1 through 5 it's going to be a better off-road gearing, and the transmission changes combined with the engine changes are going to make it a little bit more usable off-road. I would highly recommend buying this bike. I really like it. The only cautionary thing I would say, or 2 things, basically the same thing, is that it's not a freeway adventure cruiser. So if that's your thing, if you really want to do a lot of freeway adventure cruising, you probably want something bigger that's more comfortable on the freeway. This bike will go about 75 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour if you ask it to. But if you get in a headwind or a hill, you're going to be slightly restricted. It's just kind of a normal thing. And the other thing that I would say, it's along the same line, is if you're looking for a bike that's really exciting and fast and super zippy and accelerates like crazy, you want to do wheelies in fourth gear and all that kind of stuff, this is probably not the bike for you. You should get something a little more zippy, a little bigger. But what's nice about it is it's a fairly small bike. It weighs about 330 pounds, so it's not hard to handle. It is a bit high. You know, the standover on this bike is 35 inches, which is quite a lot, but it's okay. Just for the record, I ended up buying a 2017 model. So this one is the introductory year of the Rally, and I really like it. The changes on the 300 are huge. They make a big difference, and I recommend that bike if you can afford it. So let's talk about pricing. The pricing on the 250 is going to range from about $3,000 to about $4,500, depending on the year, the model, and the condition. I paid $4,000 for this one. It's a super clean 2017 with 2,500 miles on it, and it was used mostly for freeway commuting. Had very little dirt, so it's in really nice shape. So I'm very happy with it. So the range, and then if you get an earlier L series model, then it's going to be closer to the $3,000 mark. And if it's a little beat up or has high mileage, it might even be less. But I'm just talking about a nice bike, and that's what you're going to pay, $3,000 to $4,500 for this bike. Now the 300 is going to be more money, and despite the fact that I highly recommend it, it's going to be more money. So the 300 is going to be in the range of maybe starting at $4,500, where the other one leaves off, and then going up to like $6,000. You know, there's also the option of buying a new one there. By the time you get out of the dealer, it's going to be way over $7,000, even though the MSRP is only like $6,150, I think, something like that. So anyway, that's the pricing. Now, which model should you get? So it depends on, first of all, decide whether you want an L or a Rally. If you're doing more freeway, more road, longer adventure rides, then the Rally is going to be better for you. And if you're not going to do that, you're going to do mostly more dirt or shorter rides, then the L series is probably fine, and it's probably going to be a little cheaper. And then the other decision is 250 versus the 300, and I would say it's entirely budget, because the 300 is better in every way. There's no detriment to having the 300. And when you think about the engine, you know, keep in mind that one of the limitations of the bike is the power, and the additional power of the 300 is really handy because it's so needed. It's not like, oh, you don't need it. So get a 300 if you can afford it. If you can't, just get the 250 and be happy with it. It's pretty awesome. So anyway, I hope that helps you out with your decision. Another thing I should mention is that this is the bike that is ridden by the YouTuber Itchy Boots, and if you follow her, she's very popular, and she's actually ridden her CRF 300 Rally from Patagonia all the way to Alaska, and it's a really great show she puts on. She has almost 2 million subscribers now, so she's quite popular and definitely worth checking out. So if you have time and you want to see what this bike will do, she's absolutely proven that the bike is suitable for that kind of long adventure riding. I mean, just huge number of kilometers. It's just unbelievable. And prior to owning her 300, she did own a 250 Rally, actually, that I think she rode that in Africa. She's super fun to follow, and if you watch her, you'll be definitely become more tuned into what this bike is capable of and what it's used for and all that stuff. Right now we're riding on Grizzly Peak, which is in the East Bay in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's actually quite a popular road with motorcyclists, and there's a viewpoint up here which is frequented by bikers, but it's pretty busy right now, so it's not, you know, there's too many cars, you can't go fast. So, but it's nice and twisty, and there's nice views of the bay. It's pretty cool. Anyway, thanks for coming along on this video. Hope you learned something about these dual sport bikes, these Honda L and Rally series. And if you liked the video, please do like and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching.